Hello everyone, welcome to the third CULTIC Dev Diary. I promise the game is still being developed. A lot of the stuff I've been working on lately is like level design stuff and just, doing a whole bunch of bug fixing and polishing and adding new areas and adding secret areas, and it's all kind of stuff that's either hard to show or stuff that I don't want to spoil for players, so I'm choosing not to show it. So I do have a lot of new features I want to talk about, though. The progress has been a little bit slow, but I'm trying to be really careful to not get burned out working on this game, because I do have a full-time job and then a few side gigs to to pay the bills, and then I work on CULTIC on top of all of that. So just trying not to go crazy, but here's all the stuff that I have gotten done since the last developer diary. So for some gameplay stuff, I've got an item wheel added in now, so the player can have an inventory rolling, and it's really easy to just switch between items that are in the inventory. There's just a couple of keys on the keyboard that you cycle left and right. So any items that you would normally think to find in like a build game, so like first aid kit, and in other games like scuba tanks and stuff like that, is all going to be on the item wheel yet. I haven't fully scoped out what this is all going to be used for, but for the time being, I've got the field kit, which you can use to heal yourself for however much you like. Unlike other games where you just hit enter or the use key and it fills your health all the way back up, you can hold this down just to recover the amount that you want. So just in case you've got you see like a health pickup coming up and you just want to top off a little bit, it's an option. So, and it also makes it so it takes a little more time to heal, so you can't just tap enter and save yourself from instant death. But also you've got keys in here, which kind of leads into the next thing that I've added in. I've gotten locked doors working, so pretty simple. There's some doors that are locked, and you find a key for it, you select the key in your inventory, and then you use it on the door to open the door. It doesn't automatically use keys that are in your inventory. Since the inventory is so easy to access and switch between, I wanted there to be a tiny bit of like a puzzle element just to using the items to some degree. So you do have to select the item you want to use and use it on the door to open it. But it's pretty simple, and I don't think it'll be too frustrating for people to do a little bit of trial and error on that. We've also got destructible walls added in, and of course the secret areas that lie behind them. This is just a pretty simple extension of my destructible class that's on a lot of other things in the game, like lights and other objects that you can break. And this just has a special flag on it, so you only detect explosive damage, so you do have to use explosive weapons, whether that's TNT or the China Lake, to open these up. And then you've got usually secret areas behind those, and the secret areas just give the player a little prompt that they've entered a secret area, and then there's a counter at the end of the level that shows how many secrets there were and how many you found. So pretty simple stuff. At the time being, I don't have a whole lot of items in the game, so the secret areas generally just give you ammo and health and the like, but as I expand the player's total arsenal with armor and like weapon parts for upgrades and stuff like that, I'm hoping to be able to have more secret areas and have more worthwhile rewards than just extra health pickups and the like. Alright, let's move on to enemies. The enemies have had a lot of work done since the last Dev Diary, starting with the Axe Cultists. The Axe Cultists have had a big overhaul. The first thing you might notice is that the enemies have red glowing eyes now, which kind of helps to pick them out against dark backgrounds. The Axe Cultists now will start running at the player out of frustration if they haven't been able to attack the player in a certain amount of time. So the Axe Cultist does get a little faster. They can also throw axes at you now, which you might have seen in the videos. The axes can be kicked back at them or shot out of the air. But yeah, so the Cultists, if you are much faster than they are, so if you stay out of their range, they will just start hucking axes at you, and they have an infinite supply, so they are a much more formidable enemy when you're out in the open and you have enough space to just kind of keep away from them. I also added in the Sten Cultist, so this is pretty much mostly a clone of the Pistol Cultist. He has a little bit more health. But he will also, he will not stop firing at the player until you get behind cover or until he runs out of ammo. So he will fire a full 30-round magazine at the player until you break line of sight. So these guys, you definitely want to get out of their way when they start shooting, because they are bullet hoses and they will drop you pretty quick. The next new enemy, and kind of the most fresh enemy that I've made so far that isn't just another cultist, is the Harvester. And he is a scary looking guy that took me a ridiculous amount of time to model. And he is kind of acts as a mini boss in the early levels, but eventually I do want to have him appear as a regular enemy, which is kind of leading to a little bit of balancing difficulty. And so right now he's kind of like a he's kind of like like Dr. Salvador in Resident Evil 4, the chainsaw guy. As long as you keep your distance from him, he's not a huge threat. But if you get too close, he is capable of taking the player down very quickly. He does have some ranged abilities. He has he can huck a bear trap at you, which if you get caught in it, will trigger him to start sprinting towards the player, and he will close the gap between the player and himself very quickly and launch into a chainsaw attack. He can also throw out these homemade nail bombs, which will hit the ground and then explode into a huge array of thrown shrapnel. It's pretty easy to dodge just by crouching under it. All the nails tend to shoot upwards, so as long as you're not caught in the blast radius and you have time to crouch, you can avoid it almost entirely. I'm not sure if I'm going to change this or not. I don't really like the idea of having the nail bomb be something that you have to be behind cover to dodge, because I don't really like, having to force the players to get into cover, and crouching is a pretty good strategy for the rest of the game as it makes enemies less accurate. So I don't know, I'm going to have to keep messing with that and maybe see how player feedback looks on it. But yeah, this guy's pretty devastating in close quarters. If you're outside or you can get the drop on him with some dynamite, he's not too much of a threat. I guess that's really it for brand new features. There's really just been a whole lot of design on the levels going, trying to build the maps out more, and the first level is completely done now. Obviously there's some balancing I want to do and lots of bug fixing still, but content-wise, the first map is playable from start to finish. I got a main menu put together, I got a results screen put together, and so this kind of first level demo that I was wanting to put together just to see how the game feels is done. And so I've had the opportunity to play through that from start to finish, and kind of take some time away from development and then come back and try to look at it with a fresh set of eyes. And it's, a lot of stuff from my original design document has kind of changed. I've been tailoring the game to be a little more slower paced, a little more of like a horror shooter. And the original design document was for something a little more fast-paced and a little more, just a lot more like jumping around, a lot more speed, a lot more verticality, and as I've kind of worked on it, I've settled into something that's a little more, the player has to take things a little slower, enemies can shred you up pretty quickly, and I'm really enjoying that gameplay feel so far. So I think I'm going to be revisiting some of my original points on my design document, and really just seeing what I can do to tailor this game more towards a slower horror feel, but not quite survival horror. Like there's still going to be a lot of strafing, a lot of shooting, a lot of dodging. But there's just a lot more of an emphasis on just prioritizing enemies and not getting yourself torn apart in a hurry. I would say that's probably about it for this devlog. There's a lot of really exciting stuff in the pipeline, a lot of stuff I would love to tell you guys about now, but unfortunately I need to bide my time on that. Next step, hopefully, is to get a functioning save system in the game, and then I've just got a lot of polishing and bug fixing to do. I've got this huge notepad document full of bugs that I encounter, and I think most of them are pretty easy. There's a couple of bigger physics related bugs that I'm having a little trouble tackling, just because physics is not really in my wheelhouse too well. But I'm optimistic. Hopefully, I can get that stuff fixed, and I really want to get this first level demo into your hands as soon as I can. So keep your eyes set on the Twitter page, and thanks everyone for all of the engagement and all of the attention and for all the love you've given towards this project so far. And I really hope that once I get this into your hands, it'll be something that everyone enjoys. So until next time,